So the story is this is a regular council meeting, and it's odd enough, I would think, that a former mayor is showing up, and he's not running, by the way, for anything, as far as I know, would show up at a town council meeting and confront the current mayor. And this all has to do with expenses and apparently an Access to Information Act that details some of those expenses. So I want Linda to break it down because this is her story. And if we can get her on the phone, we'll try to see if we can, in fact, get her to break it down. Linda, can you hear me now?
I can.
There we go. Okay, that's great. I don't know what that was before. So let's talk about this. There's the meeting. There's the former mayor confronting the current mayor, Jeremy Levi. How did this start? What was it about?
Former Mayor Steinberg wrote on his blog, he posted, I guess, his examination through Access to Information requests of all the expenditures, especially travel expenses of the current members of council and a handful of civil servants. And he confronted the mayor about, in particular, a hotel that cost the town, I think, $895 Canadian per night in Dallas. That was Mayor Levi's hotel cost. And it just degenerated from there because it became a kind of tit-for-tat of debate between the two. And Mayor Levi came back with, even though he said he hadn't read the blog post, he came back with a pretty precise figures for Mr. Steinberg's expense reimbursements when he was mayor of Hampstead. And yeah, it went on for about 15 minutes, and ultimately the police were called.
Why were the police called?
So, according to the police, because I asked the police, well, why, even if they called you, why would you go? And so they said that the mayor had lost decorum at the council meeting, and that Mr. Steinberg had gone past his allotted time to speak.
Now, typically, if you go past your allotted time to speak, they don't call police. They just go on to the next person or ask you to sit down. To call police. Yeah, it was surprising. I asked the police, actually, the Montreal police, well, what section of what law was violated? So the answer I got was, you have to behave. So I'm not sure if you or I called the police because somebody was, I don't know, talking loudly in our backyard, or that we would get the same kind of response. It is a bit surprising. Yeah, look, there's obviously no love lost between Bill Steinberg and Jeremy Levi, right? We can establish that already. The former mayor losing to the current mayor. But I wonder as well, did police say he wasn't escorted out? He was just asked to leave, and they didn't have to physically escort him out, right?
So they said they didn't physically intervene. They could have. They had because Mayor Levi signed a form that the police had asked him to sign, basically giving power to the police to remove the person in question and to use physical force if necessary, but it wasn't necessary. They escorted him out, and he left of his own volition. And, the subtext to all this, of course, is that there's a municipal election coming in this November. Mm-hmm. So Mr. Steinberg has said that he hasn't at this point decided he wants to run again, but he wants to be involved in the next campaign, at least to one way or the other, to support others who might run, but he wants this council gone. Okay.
Linda, stay where you are. I think we have William Steinberg on the other line. Mr. Steinberg, are you there?
I am here. The connection seems very bad, but I'll do my best.
Okay. So you've heard Linda describe it. I know you read the article as well.
Yes, I did.
What exactly was the rationale for going to this meeting and confronting the mayor in person that way?
Okay, well, I think people have read my blog post at billsteinberg.ca, and people are outraged. I mean, what the council is doing is incredible. 40% salary increase for the councillors, when in fact they're doing less work than they used to under me. $200,000 more for taxpayers to pay because of that excessive increase. Trips to Europe, trips to the U.S., no trips to Canada. When I was running things, councillors could only go to one conference a year in Canada. So no wonder they've spent over $177,000. This is not just councillors, this is councillors and staff, over $177,000 in trips and conferences in just 2 years. and there's plenty more.
I could understand. By the way, you managed to get this information through access to information, right? It's not otherwise not publicly available.
Yes.
Okay.
I had numerous requests for access to information. I kept going deeper and deeper because the more I found, the more questions I had. It was several months of digging, and ultimately I compiled a list of all the conferences and trips taken by everybody over the 2-year period, every single expense. There were a few that I couldn't place with any particular conference, but it's over 177,000 in total.
I guess my first question is, what is your ultimate objective here? You're not running, or are you running in the next municipal election? Is that the plan? And if you are, why would you not wait till then to bring this up?
Okay. I have no plans to run. I want this council replaced by honest, ethical people who care about Hampstead. That is my sole motivation. 16 years I was the mayor. We ran the town extremely well. And yes, many of those councillors were on my councils, but I controlled things. Now they're getting away with murder. It's really disgusting.
But if you feel this way and you have this financial data, why would you not run? I don't understand. Or why would you not be part of a party that would run against the mayor?
It's a lot of work running for council. Yes, I could easily do the job, but it's time for other people to step up. I mean, look, 16 years, and 4 years before that, fighting the merger battle. I'm 77. I'm in good health, mentally, physically, not a problem. But, how much am I supposed to do? People are coming up to me nonstop. You've got to run again. You've got to run again. Well, no. What has to happen is other people have to step up. They have to run for council, and somebody should run for mayor. We need honest, ethical people. That's what we need. I'll give advice. I will help them. I've been elected more times than any mayor of Hampstead. I know how to do these things. I can help people. They just have to come forward. Some have. More have to come forward. People have to volunteer. It's said that democracy is not a spectator sport. You have to participate. And if you don't, you get what you deserve.
Did someone come to you to suggest that there were these things going on in council that led you to go ahead and do this deep dive? Or how did you have an inkling this was going on if you're not even in government anymore there?
Well, the first thing that happened that got me interested is when the CMQ report came out calling the spending by Richardson reprehensible and saying that the council, total mismanagement by the council. But that wasn't enough. The council then defended Richardson, and I asked myself, why would they do this? If it's one thing I know about this council, they're very political. The obvious thing is throw the guy under the bus. But they didn't. They defended him. They also lied about knowing that he was going to retire on that date. I can prove that as well.
Okay.
So that got me going. I requested all the statements from Richardson's credit cards going back several years. I found out the expenses on his credit cards increased by 50.
Okay, let me, just for perspective, Richardson, who you keep referring to, was working as what's his official title? Director General of the town. Okay.
And I found his expenses increased by 53% once I was gone.
Mm-hmm.
There were things going on, and that led to me digging. And once I started digging, and I saw all the travel expenses that were on his credit card for counselors, for staff, whatever.
Okay. I'm going to run out of time. I'm going to stop you just because we reached out to Jeremy Levi and offered to have him come on as well. He declined an offer for the interview, but we were sent a statement. I'll just read you a little piece here that says, referring to your blog, the blog falsely suggests an excessive increase in council remuneration. In fact, a single adjustment of 29% was approved in July of 2022, following proper procedures and full transparency. There's also a part here that says, with respect to financial oversight, the town of Hampstead has taken concrete and timely action in response to the CMQ's recommendations. It outlines what those were, and then it ends with, the town of Hampstead remains firmly committed to transparency, fiscal integrity, and the continuous improvement of the administrative processes or practices. Anyone wishing to review the town's internal policies may do so by submitting an access to information request. So, is this it? Is it over here? What happens next? What do you want to see happen next? What will you do next?
Okay, I missed a little bit of that, but he's now saying that the increase was only 29% or 30%.
He's saying there was a single adjustment of 29% approved in July of 2022.
Okay. That all depends on how you calculate these things.
Okay, no, I'm not looking to go through the minutia here. I want to know, based on what happened, based on the fact that, eventually you were forced to leave, what's your next step here? Is this over?
No, it's certainly not over. The next step is my blog, billsteinberg.ca, will have a second article. This one about how incompetent the town has been run, how many things we no longer have thanks to this new council. That's what that article will be about, and it should come out within a few days.
Okay, the mayor called what you said or what you wrote slanderous. Are you not concerned here about, perhaps blogging and putting up another blog post and getting into trouble again?
Well, I checked with more than one lawyer, and the basic thing the lawyers say is very simple. If it's true, they'll never win a slander or a defamation suit. And every word is true.
Okay.
Everything is backed up. I've got a huge folder of backup documents, emails from the town clerk.
Okay. Do you plan to show up to another council meeting, or are you going to take a different sort of approach?
Well, let them worry about that. We'll see.
Okay.
The next council meeting is in July.
Okay. I have to wrap up. I thank you so much for your time. I do appreciate it, Mr. Steinberg. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
William Steinberg, the former mayor of Hampstead, going after not just the mayor now, Jeremy Levi, but council as well.